I'm going to present you few non-legendary decks that can help you to get to the higher stages. So um, we are going to start with the Gear Dice. So you can play the Gear Dice deck, but this deck, playing in non-legendary version, is kinda, yeah, and it feels a little bit weaker because the Joker, the legendary Joker, is the what makes the decks stronger and with growth. But we are going to talk about how to play the non-legendary decks for beginners that have low crit damage and so on. So there are two, like in the high end, there are always two dices that are stable that have to be in every deck to be successful. And in the early stages, there are also two dices that have to be in every deck because they have their purpose. Some players might disagree, but I think those two helps a lot when they are in the decks. So the one is the ice. Ice, I don't think anybody would disagree with ice. Ice is mostly there to slow down the boss stages so you can beat the bosses. So you at the beginning they many players get damage from the bosses, not from the waves. So if you're playing ice, the bosses won't get to your base or whatever. You won't get any damage when you have enough DPS, of course. When you have the knight, it's different, or Leon. But the other boss and silence. Okay, yeah, the bosses got stronger, so it's kind of different. But you should beat them. And the other one is the sacrifice dice. The sacrifice dice is in the higher stage or the beginning. It doesn't matter. You get the same amount of SP, so it's a fixed amount when depending on the dot number, but it's very strong. But when you're playing sacrifice, normally I wouldn't suggest playing it with, how you call it, mimic. And actually, if you don't want to play the mimic, you can play a second DPS, the like iron or mighty wind, or not modified iron or mighty wind, one of those, because that can give you like I think iron, yeah, iron, more iron, because when you're fighting against the knight and you have a second DPS like iron, and the knights change up your field, then you get a few irons on the field, and those irons can beat the boss. So you won't have like few mimics on the field. So I think with iron, the deck would be stronger. I won't do any testing PvP because in my class, those, like I said in my other video, non-legendaries won't work after class 16. After class 12, the non-legendary won't work. But when you get to class 12, you have already got the free legendaries from the chest, so you don't need to play the non-legendaries. You will get Joker up in class 8 somewhere. You get an let me look here. Back. You get Joker here. Then you get I can look at them. You here 3000 turn you get Joker. So the other one I think it was Hell. This is I think 4000 is class 12. Haven't been there for a long time. Oh, it's class 11, 5000. Okay. Okay, 5000. Think there you get, not sure, but haven't been there a long time. But you get also a few legendary chests, and yeah, I can't remember. It's been a long time. But you get like 4 or 5 legendaries at least when you're class 12. When you're playing free to play, and also you might get a few legendaries in the shop. But when you're lucky, then you're unlucky. So this is the first deck I want to show you, the gear dice. It's the most common dice. Also the swap dice, I wouldn't use it, but when you play no legendaries, yeah, there aren't many much choices. So you have to play a swap dice. It helps the decks, but only in the gear dice deck. In other decks, this swap doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't have any purpose. So this is one of the. It's not the first deck, but I think this is even when from the top decks knowledge level. I'll put this at the bottom. So this is my next deck. So you play sacrifice, ice, modified, iron, poison. But you don't need to play poison. You can also play infect. It doesn't matter. You can play poison or infect. It depends on what fits you better. Also, what to notify or to tell. You can also replace modified with taunt if you want. There are many styles. When you play the modified, after the second boss stage, when you get to the second wave, when you beat the first boss, and you still have one dot modified on the field, merge them, because modified is there when only effective when you have two dots or higher, and one dot it doesn't make any sense to play have the modified on the field. One dot. The purpose is higher dots attacks more enemies. So yeah. I saw few players saying this deck doesn't work, and then I look at the screenshot and I see 1 dot modified on the field. I was like, why didn't you merge those? You don't need to keep the 1 dot modified on the field. So this deck is very strong and effective. Also, you can replace the iron with Mighty Wind. It's also a commonly used deck. Also, you could replace the modified with. This is also a strong deck. So this is effective, not with poison. This style, this can work pretty well. So the infect will do the area damage, and Mighty Wind will focus on the enemies on the front, and iron just targets the enemies with the high HP, mostly bosses and mini bosses and so on. Ice also supports this deck, so this is also a strong deck that can be used. Let me look if I can find another deck, because I think this deck, they have many styles of building it, so this is not just one deck. There are many styles of these kinds of decks, how to build them and so on. But this deck, I would say it might be one of the stronger ones, but this one is harder to control. So in all decks you saw sacrifice and ice. Also, what I forgot about to say about ice, ice you just need one on the field, and sacrifice you merge them every time. The critical, you need to know how to use the critical. You can also play instead of critical light, but critical or if you play critical or light, you have to know how to place them, because you can't keep them next to each other and just having other dice lying around. So if you want to play critical or light dice, you need to inform about those dice, how to play them. You need to get information, because those dice playing I would say it's another level. So it makes the decks more complicated, but it isn't that hard. There are harder decks out there. So these are my 3, or when you call it more than 3, top decks using in PvP. So dice like electric or fire or gamble, lock, I won't use them in PvP. Even the new dice that came to wave and arrow, I won't use them. Death, teleport, I won't use all of them. Wave dive also not. So just the ones I show you, those are for me the best. When I did my beginner series, of course I got a legendary at the beginning and assassin with luck, but mostly those dices are good. Iron, poison, ice, sacrifice, taunt, light, critical, infection, modified, mighty wind, and gear. I wouldn't put swap as a good dice. It just has one purpose. So yeah. Anyway, that's it the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.